looked sharp this afternoon, especially on the sweeps. I remember coming to games in the last couple of years and watching the sweep come, and I say, oh no, there's another 4-yard loss. But this week they're blowing Rutgers out of there, and then Ray James has looked good on the sweeps. And they, especially the first play in the game when Ray James went off tackle on the left side, and there was no hole, and he went around the end, and it was daylight. He just looks very impressive, and Connecticut is doing a job on the line.
Another thing surprising to most UConn fans here today, UConn has scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. So throughout the first 4 games of the season, Connecticut has only scored 6 points, those coming in the 3-point field goal in the first period and a 3-point field goal in the second period. I cannot remember exactly which game it is, but UConn has scored more points right here in this first half than they have in the 4 previous first halves of the season. Unbelievable.
Well, it's about time. I think a lot of Connecticut fans were getting frustrated, and anyone who covers Connecticut football is sort of almost has an obligation to play out the better facets of the game, but it's really tough to talk about Connecticut football when the showings that they've had, especially against New Hampshire, have not been impressive, but they really have something to cheer about today because Rutgers is just a fine, fine team. And it looks like things are starting to gel. It's in the middle of the schedule, but better late than never. The things are starting to gel now. The offensive line is working, and it looks like things are looking up for Connecticut. Same thing happened last year, Harold. Connecticut did not look sharp until midway through the season, and they finished off, I think, winning 4 out of 5 games.
Hopefully next year, we're looking at next year already, but hopefully next year they can put a whole season together at once. The UConn fans are never going to be satisfied with losing the first 4 out of 5 and winning the next 4 out of 5. Or if they get that good, we're speculating a little bit too much here. Hopefully UConn will turn it on right in the midst of the Yankee Conference schedule, and maybe they can still come out with a win in the Yankee Conference. You're never quite sure it's over until it's over, as Yogi Berra put it. Well, let's switch subjects. Let's go to UConn soccer. Bill, you're the expert. You and Andy Young, the expert on UConn soccer. Tomorrow, big game versus Air Force. Of course, yesterday, UConn beat Boston College. They destroyed Boston College. It was 5-0 in a rain-soaked game. Unbelievable. As I was listening to the game and you said that UConn has scored more goals in the first 21 minutes against Boston College than 9 previous teams did. Bill, can you elaborate on that?
I will indeed, Harold, and I hope our listeners did get a chance to at least hear that game if they were not out there, because we did make some very positive points about the Boston College schedule and their opponents. Boston College has played such teams as St. Louis. They played San Francisco this past week, but those games they played at home. And home for Boston College is an artificial surface, and it's an artificial surface that is only 57 yards wide. Connecticut plays on a 75-yard field, which shows the difference. And Connecticut showed the difference yesterday because they used the whole field, and they looked especially good passing the ball laterally, bringing it outside to the wings within the same couple of yards. And they really strung out the play, in effect. And Boston College I didn't think they had the speed on the wings to compete with the Huskies. And one other thing, Pedro DeBrito, whom Joe Maroney moved back to a midfield position earlier in the season, has just looked fine in that position, and he was really taking charge yesterday. He and Dan Sullivan and Kenny Murphy all had fine games yesterday.
What about the goalie situation? I hear that Barry Stringfellow has quit the team. Do you have anything on that from the coaches?
I have not talked to Coach Maroney since the change has been made. The change we're talking about, of course, is Barry Stringfellow has been dropped from the roster. I understand, however, and this is all conjecture, and I want you to take it that way, that Barry Stringfellow and Joe Maroney did not see eye to eye on things. And apparently Coach Maroney just felt that Barry Stringfellow did not fit in with the plans for the Huskies. And subsequently, Steve Beagle, who was a third-string goaltender, has been brought up from obscurity, you might say, and he is now the backup goaltender to Jim Renahan. Renahan, by the way, is looking better and better with every performance. I think he showed his colors very well against San Francisco, and yesterday against Boston College he made some good saves. And as far as Barry Stringfellow goes, it's a point Andy Young made yesterday. It's a very tough position to be in when you're a goaltender because everyone sees what happens. If somebody makes a defensive mistake, they're the ones that pay for it, because eventually if it gets by them, the ball goes in the net. And Connecticut has not had a history of real outstanding goaltenders, with the exception in the near past of Bob Ross and Terry McSherry. And so the guys who fill in, such as Pete Carley, Pat Linsky, Paul Winstanley, Barry Stringfellow, they have a lot of pressure on them to perform to the caliber of a Bob Ross.
What about the UConn Husky defense? I noticed that against San Francisco, they let up 4 goals, the most they have against any team this year. And it's not always the goalie's fault that the ball goes through the net. A lot of the times it is the Husky defense or the defense of the soccer team. What's with the Husky defense? Are they playing up to potential? Are they playing well, bad, etc.? What do you say to that?
It's a complicated matter, Harold, because the defense is very connected with the offense, especially for the Huskies. The Connecticut backfielders usually take liberties, and they do penetrate to a degree that many backfields don't do. And Darak, Cap, Jim Lyman, and Willie Cadet, and Charlie McSpirit, they all are more offensive-minded than a lot of backfield. So backfield, and consequently, on a transition game, when you're making those passes, if they don't click, then your defensive men are halfway down the field, and the offense has the ball. And the Husky defense got burned on the winning goal in just that same manner. You know, it was a bad pass by Ken Murphy that led to that goal. Murphy's pass was intercepted, and there was only one back, and that was Willie Cadet. But let's take the pressure off the defense a little and give San Francisco a lot of credit offensively. They scored from outside of the penalty area on 2 or 3 of their goals. And when you've got feet, such as the San Francisco Dons have, you can blast them from anywhere out there. And there's not too much the defense is going to be able to do if a man has a clear shot from outside the penalty area, and the pressure does come down onto the goaltender.
A surprising score to me was this past week, Boston College and San Francisco fought to a 0-0 tie, and I saw the San Francisco game. They're playing very good soccer. They're great. They're fantastic. They're nationally ranked. They came in here, they scored, they hit the net. It was only Huskies played lousy soccer for 20 minutes. Up to then, they were playing fantastic ball control offense, and then a lapse of 10 minutes in the first half at the end, and a lapse of 10 minutes in the first part of the second half, and that was most of the game right there. San Francisco did not score versus Boston College, and we did. That's unbelievable.
Well, once again, you go back to the home field factor that Boston College had when it played San Francisco. I don't hesitate to say that if they had played it on a neutral site or on grass or maybe at San Francisco, the story would have been a lot different. But going back to that San Francisco game, the Huskies did look bad in the middle half of the contest between the last 15 minutes or so of the first half and the opening 20 minutes of the second half. But I'm telling you, a comeback from 3-1 against a team like San Francisco is something to be proud of, and I know Joe Money was not disappointed with the 4-3 loss last weekend. Anytime you can come back against the defending national champions from a 2-goal deficit late in the second half, you have really done yourself proud, and that's what the Huskies did. They never gave up.
If you've just joined us, it's UConn 14, Rutgers 7 here at Band Day. You can hear a whole mess of bands in the background. There happens to be about 15 or 20 of them right down on the field. Right now I'm speaking with Bill Healey on all sorts of sports. We've just talked about UConn football and UConn soccer. Pretty soon, all these bands together will come up with the national anthem, and hopefully we'll get a chance to let you hear that. We don't want to cut them off right in the middle of what they're playing. The crowd here, about 8,000, giving these bands a very big hand.
And you know that this has to be a big thing for high school bands to come up to the University of Connecticut. And I think they are going to have a combined band performance right here, Harold. Well, it's not the national anthem, I don't think. No, it's not the national anthem I know, anyway. But as I said, you know, guys come up here from high school, and just being here for a college football game has to be thrown off, even though, you know, even if it's a football game that is not, you know, it's not big-time football by any means, but coming up here and playing in front of all these fans is something I'm sure they'll all remember.
That's true. The Big East football has gone downhill in the long range. It's now Midwest and even out west. You're never going to see many bowl contenders from the East. You see Penn State usually every year, or even Rutgers last year in the new Garden State Bowl. But big-time football in the East has certainly gone downhill. The score, once again, 14-7, UConn up. We're going to take a little break in the action right here and come back to the rest of the second half. 5 minutes remaining in the halftime performance of the bands. UConn 14, Rutgers 7. We'll be back right after this. We're right here at halftime. The Huskies are coming back out into the field. It's UConn 14, Rutgers 7. And Bill, what do you think about the World Series? Right now, your concluding remarks about the series.
I think the World Series will be decided by the team that wins 4 games. That's about how close it is. We're actually, you know, not to jest or anything, but
that's philosophical.
It is. I think the hitting has really come on, as I mentioned earlier, and that's what I like to see. A lot of people get down on the hitting. They say the pitching is 90% of the ball game, but I happen to like the hitting, and that's why I like the Pirates. I think Stargell, Parker, and Omar Moreno and all those guys. I like seeing a lot of bats on the field, and that's where I think it's going to go. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh with the hitting.
Well, thank you very much, Bill Healey. This was our halftime. He was our halftime guest here. The score, once again, UConn 14, Rutgers 7. Unbelievably, UConn has taken the lead in this game. All the bands coming off the field here at Band Day at Memorial Stadium. We'll be right up with the second half pretty soon. The Huskies are on the field. We're waiting for Rutgers to come on, and the UConn band is going to walk off the field right now. We'll take one more break before we start the second half here at Memorial Stadium. So once again, at halftime, it's UConn 14, Rutgers 7. We'll be back right after this.
So Kenny Miller, 7-0 UConn as Bob Seeger added the extra point. After that, the second quarter, Rutgers, a 3-yard run by David Dorn, rather. The extra point was good, 7-7. And the Huskies on a 3rd and 13 situation, a 13-yard pass, Arison to Eccleston. That's where we stand now, 14-7. Let me remind you that this game is brought to you in part through underwriting grants from the following local establishments: Subway of Storrs, Villa Spirit Shop, and Huskies Restaurant.
Okay, I have a statistic here. Alan Arison in the first half unofficially 7 for 12 for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the rushing, Addison 7 carries for 24 yards. Jordan 11 carries for 48 yards. That's James 7 carries for 18 yards. In the receiving, Eccleston has caught 4 passes, Miller 2, and James 1. We're about ready to get underway in the second half. This is Harold Darak with Mike Bronitsky. Kicking off will be the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Back deep for UConn is number 30, Joe Addison, and number 28, Chetty Walton. Kicking off for the Scarlet Knights, number 16, Kenan Startzel, a very good place kicker for the Rutgers team. He has 28 points this year, coming into the game 13 for 13 on points after touchdowns and 5 for 8 in field goals. Startzel's back, so is the defense, getting ready to kick it off here in the second half. Whistle's blown, here he goes, and the second half is underway. Addison will get the ball at his own 8-yard line, coming from the right side. He cuts up the middle, dives over, and is tackled on the play by number 49 of the Scarlet Knights, Williams, the defensive back. So the Huskies will have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 19 or 20-yard line. It's marked very closely to both, and Huskies have pretty good field position coming into the second half. Taking over again as quarterback is Alan Arison, who played a superb first half. 2 touchdown passes, 1 to Eccleston and 1 to Kenny Miller. Lining up to the left is Eccleston. Power eye set to the right. Handoff looked like it was going to number 33, Tony Jordan, up the middle. Not much of a gain at all. Gain of maybe 1 or 2 yards on the play as he was gang tackled at the line by all the Rutgers. Always good. They're going to mark it 2-yard gain. It's 2nd and 8 for Tony Jordan.
For the most part, Harold, the Huskies have been most successful on the sweeps. They haven't found much yardage going up the middle on the standard handoff up the middle.
Power eye set to the right. Jordan, Addison, and James. And there's an illegal procedure call right now. Some mix-up in the backfield. Addison and Jordan, it looks like, moved a little bit too early, so that's going to be a penalty on the UConn Huskies. They're going to be penalized 5 yards, and it's going to be 2nd and 13.
That was one thing the Huskies did very little of in the first half. They weren't called for very many penalties at all. The Huskies can't afford to be called for penalties against a team like Rutgers.
Oh, look at this. It's going the other way. It looks like there was illegal procedure on the defense, which took Jordan and Addison, made them move, and it's going to be, instead of 2nd and 13, it's going to be 2nd and 3, and the Huskies get another big break.
Yes, Harold, another very big break for the Huskies here early in the second half.
Addison calling the signals. Lining up left is Eccleston. 3 runners in the backfield. Here's a snap. A handoff to number 33, Jordan, who's going to be sacked for a play behind the line of scrimmage by number 53, Jerome Williams, out of Camden, New Jersey. A big loss on the play, and the Huskies are going to have 3rd and long deep in their own territory.
Very nice play by Jerome Williams. The Huskies have been going mostly to sweeps to Raymond James and going straight up the middle for the most part so far today with Raymond James and Tony Jordan. Jordan and Addison, rather.
3rd down and 12. Harrison with the snap, rolling out to the right. He's passing and looking for number 33, Jordan. It's overthrown. Covering on the play was number 21, Smith, the defensive back, and it's going to be a 4th down situation. And coming out the punt is Rusty Umbarger and his crew. 13 minutes, 22 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. It's the Huskies 14, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights 7. Umbarger getting ready to kick it off. Back deep, Dave Dorn and Ken Smith for the Scarlet Knights. Here's the snap. Umbarger up and away with the kick. It's a short one. Calling a fair catch is going to be number 21, Ken Smith, and he downs it right on the 50-yard line of the field. So a very good field position for the Rutgers team. They're down by 7 points here. A drive here could tie it up and put them right back into this ball game. They're not really out of it right now, but they're behind by 7 points, and it's surprising to most UConn fans who have not had much confidence in the Husky offense. They have a lot of confidence in the defense, but the offense has been pretty shoddy throughout the year. McMichael, the quarterback, he takes the snap, pitches it out to number 14, David Dorn, who slips around the line of scrimmage. He's tackled by Teddy Walton and number 75, Joe Kalinowski, right around the 49-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and 9. Dave Dorn slipped on the field. The field doesn't look very slippery to me. It's in very good condition considering all the rain and snow we had this week.
Jamie Tompkins into the game, replacing Alan Burkhart. The Huskies going with 5 defensive backs here on 2nd and long.
Rutgers in the pro set with Dorn and Lester Johnson, Ted Blackwell in the backfield. Ted Blackwell takes the handoff, goes to his left, but a very nice tackle by number 36 for the Huskies, Gary Brooks. Gary Brooks, the middle guard. Very good play. And he's right around the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 9.
Gary Brooks was a running back last season as a freshman, and he made the adjustment to nose guard. He and Dan O'Leary see a lot of action from that position.
Out of the huddle of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. I formation. McMichael calling the signals. He's fades back to pass straight away. Looking deep, but he's got a fumble on the play. A flag is down. He was tackled. There's a bit of confusion on the field. Let's see exactly what they're going to call it.
Gary Brooks.
They're talking about a roughing the passer.
Gary Brooks was there to hit him along with Steve Beal and Dan O'Leary. All 3 of them converged on Ed McMichael.
It could have been a face masking call. They're going to call it face mask. Yes, face mask by the UConn Huskies, and that's going to be a big break for the Rutgers team.
We have some stats here from the first half. UConn, of course, leads 14-7. They got 12 first downs to Rutgers 7. Rutgers got 60 yards rushing, UConn 89. For Rutgers, McMichael was 6 out of 10 for 122 yards. Arison 7 out of 13, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Penalties, Rutgers had 4 penalties for 33 yards. UConn only had 1 penalty for 14 yards. I believe it was a holding call.
They're moving the ball from the 49-yard line to the 35-yard line. 15-yard penalty. They must have marked it at the 50-yard line. That's where Ed McMichael started off for his crew. He takes a snap. He's fading back to pass again, looking for number 88, Odell. He has him knocked out of bounds by number 28, Teddy Walton. Nice play by Walton. That's 29, excuse me.
Jody Webb.
Jody Webb for the Huskies. So that's McMichael to Odell. A gain of 8 on the play, and it's 2nd down and 2 for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Should Rutgers score on this possession, everybody will be looking back to that as a very, very key play there. The Huskies had them sacked at about their own 40 instead. Now they're at the 30-yard line of UConn.
There's another penalty flag down. Moving was number 70 for the Rutgers team, Cordia. Kevin Cordia out of Newark, New Jersey. He moved before the snap, and it's going to be illegal procedure, Rutgers. That's going to be 2nd and 7. They're going to move the ball back to approximately the 32-yard line. Both teams in the huddle as the referee signals illegal procedure. McMichael, the quarterback. Odell on the right. passing is McMichael. He gets away from 2 UConn defenders. He starts to run. Finally tackled by number 22, Peter Lamagna. A gain of about 3 on the play. So McMichael chooses to run with it instead of passing it as the play intended.
Good play by McMichael there. He was being pursued heavily by the UConn defense, particularly number 75, Joe Kalinowski. He spun off the tacklers, tucked the ball under his arm, and went ahead for a gain of 3. So it's 3rd and 4 Rutgers from the UConn 30.
Okay, McMichael has the ball. He's fading back to pass again. Your right-handed dumps it off to number 43, Ted Blackwell. And he has a very big gain on the play. UConn cannot seem to tackle him. Finally, one hit and another hit, and he's down about the 12-yard line. Ted Walton with the tackle. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Rutgers at their own 12-yard line. 10 minutes and 54 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter.
Very nice screen pass from McMichael to Blackwell. He was wide open in the middle of the field. Finally brought down on the play by Ted Walton with help from Ken Stockwell, the linebacker. 1st and 10 Rutgers from the UConn 18.
Rutgers breaks out of the snap, of the huddle, Dwayne Cherry on the right. Tim Odell on the left. Power I for the backfield. Handoff to Dave Dorn, who tries to go up to the left side, but he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Joe Kalinowski. Dorn might have made it all the way to the line of scrimmage, where it was a good play as Kalinowski got in there from the left side.
They're calling it a loss of 1, Harold. They're ruling the line of scrimmage. They're ruling the tackle was made right at the 20, so it's 2nd and 11. Right at the 15, rather. I'm sorry. 2nd and 11 from the 15.
Huskies playing a 5-man front line and 3 linebackers. Here's the snap. McMichael back to pass. He gets dumped on from UConn. That's Steve Beal. Steve Beal, the big defensive tackle, who came right in there and absolutely destroyed Ed McMichael.
Steve Beal showing what he is known for, this vicious pass rushing. That's a big play for the Huskies. They force Rutgers into a 3rd and 19 situation. They must get to the UConn 4-yard line for a 1st down.
9 minutes, 26 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. McMichael calling out the signals. Takes the snap, looking to pass once again. He's going to go looking for number 88, Odell. He can't get him, and UConn sacks the quarterback another time. Getting to him was number 36 for the UConn Huskies. That was
Gary Brooks, Harold.
Gary Brooks again, the middle guard, and the
Kalinowski was there also, along with Alan Berghardt.
It's going to be 4th down and 27 to go, and they're going to go for a field goal. Startzel, who was 5 for 8 on the field goal attempts this year, his longest has been 48 yards. This attempt is the kick. It's up, and it's good. The kick by Startzel to come out to a 47-yard kick. 1 yard off his longest attempt this year, and the Rutgers get on the board one more time. The score, UConn 14, Rutgers 10. And Rutgers will be kicking off here.
Have some scores, Harold. At the half, Penn State 17, Army nothing. At the half, Navy 7, William & Mary 7. At the half, Yale 3, Dartmouth nothing. New Hampshire leads Maine 17-0 at the half. Massachusetts also shutting out BU by the same score, 17-0 at the half. VMI 24, Appalachian State 10 in the 2nd quarter. And at the half, Holy Cross 10, Colgate 7.
Startzel going to be kicking off at the 40-yard line. Deep for UConn, Joe Addison and Ted Walton. 8 minutes and 36 seconds remaining here in the 3rd period. Addison tees up the ball. Goes back to get ready to start another bit of play. Referee blows the whistle. Here's the kickoff. And it's going to go again to Addison on the right side. Addison getting the ball at his own 3-yard line. Starting off there, going up to the 15 to the 20-yard line, where he is stopped by a few Rutgers defensive players. And it's going to be at the 22-yard line of the UConn Huskies, where they'll take it off 1st and 10.
Harold, you can't emphasize enough the importance of that big field goal by Rutgers. The Huskies seem to have taken the momentum away from Rutgers with those 2 big sacks on 2nd and 3rd downs there, but Startzel came through and kicked the long 46-yarder to put Rutgers within 4.
Addison takes the snap, hands it off to number 30. Joe Addison up the middle, a gain of about 5 or 6 yards. Big hole opened up there by Jim Raleigh and Dan Palumbo. And the Huskies get a big lead of 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4. Checking in the game, Tony Jordan in for number 20, Santangelo.
Don't forget, important UConn sports action here on WHUS tomorrow at 10. UConn women's field hockey, Penn State against UConn. Jay Haller and B.J. Fennell with the action.
There's a snap, a quick pass to number 8, Reggie Eccleston from Alan Harrison on a slant play on the right side. It'll be a first down for the UConn Huskies. Quick bang play there. And the Huskies will be lined up around the 34-yard line.
Huskies utilizing those post patterns to Eccleston during the course of the day, and they've worked very well so far. Also tomorrow, big soccer game, UConn and Air Force, 12:55. Bill Healey and Andy Young. BU beat Air Force last night by a score of 2-0.
Harrison takes a snap, hands it off to number 32, James, trying to go around the right side, gets back to the line of scrimmage, but nothing more. It'll be 2nd down and 10 yards. A lot of big action tomorrow from WHUS. Women's field hockey at 10 and male UConn soccer at 12:55.
Don't forget also, stay tuned to the athletic supporter after this game. Immediately following our wrap-up show, Bruce Rosard, our engineer, will be there along with Andy Young.
We'd like to thank Bruce for being our engineer. He's doing a fine job. Handoff to James on the left side. He gets around. He's sweeping around and finally being stopped by number 3, Smith, the defensive back. A gain of about 6 on the play, 6 or 7. It's going to be 3rd and 3.
There's a player down on the field. It's number 62, Bill Pickle, sophomore, 6'3", 210 out of Maspeth, New York, and the Rutgers trainers have run over to attend to him. It appears to be in the knee area, but it's hard to tell from this angle.
Looks like it's his right knee. He's down around the 40-yard line. A couple trainers are out. Clock to stop with 6 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the 3rd period.
Another program notes, after the athletic supporter, stay tuned for the unnamed special from 5 to 8. Michael Judkins will have Janis Joplin as the featured artist, and after that will be Bruce Guptill with his oldies show from 8 to 11. So stay right here on 91.7 FM, the sound alternative, Storrs, Connecticut, WHUS. Your voice for UConn sports and all kinds of other public affairs and music programs.
Bill Pickle now walking off the field on his own accord. He's not limping very much. His right knee looks like it's in good shape, and we'll probably see him in the game in a few plays.
That's good to see.
That's good to see if you're a Rutgers.
That's good to see anyway, Harold. I hate to see anyone get injured.
UConn in the huddle. Rutgers out of theirs. We're on the 41-yard line of the Huskies. 3rd down and 3. Power eye to the left. Lining up to the right is Reggie Eccleston. Here's a handoff right up the middle to number 33, Tony Jordan. It's going to be close to the first down. Or just a little bit short. We'll see what happens. There happens to be a UConn player down on the field now. He's holding his head. Looks like it's number 69 for the Huskies, Mike Muha.
Mike Muha still lying down at the field at about the 45-yard line, being attended to now by UConn trainer Tom Pike. Along with, I believe that's Ralph Mansell down there also attending to him.
Into the game, number 74, Mangiario. No, excuse me, I'm on the wrong side. It's Jones for UConn. They're going to take off Muha on a stretcher. He seems to be holding his head. He might be dizzy right now. We don't know exactly what it is down on the field. They haven't lined up the ball yet on the play. They're waiting until they get the injured player off the field.
UConn's next football game will be next Saturday as they take on the Maine Black Bears up in Orono, Maine. WHUS will be there to bring all the action starting at 1:25 with the sports page preceding that at 1 o'clock.
6 minutes, 17 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. The wind blowing south here against the Huskies. Still overcast day, kind of chilly. The wind's not very much of a factor, but it's still having a little bit of a cool breeze here at Memorial Stadium. A lot of fans here today for Band Day. Most of the bands have dispersed and have gone home. There was more bands on the Rutgers side of the field at the start of the game. Now that the halftime performance is over, they have left. A big hand for Mike Muha, 6'1", 220, out of New Jersey, as he gets taken off the field. And hopefully he'll be all right. And maybe he'll be into the game a little bit later on. We're not sure exactly what the extent of the injury is. UConn first down as they measured off a referee's measurement. And it'll be a UConn first down at the 44-yard line. Big play for UConn right there. If they could have a drive here, get a touchdown on the board, Rutgers will have to score twice. Harrison calling out the signals, takes the snap, hands it off to James on the right side, looking for a sweep, trying to get around a couple Rutgers defenders, but he can't do that. He was stopped by number 21, Smith, the defensive back, for a loss on the play of about 1 or 2 yards. They're going to mark it 1 yard loss, second down and 11.
Pat Brennan, Tom May rather, back into the game, replacing Pat Brennan as they're shuffling plays in now for the Huskies.
The clock is running here. UConn in a power I to the left. Lining up to the right of the field is Reggie Eccleston. Quick slant past him, knocked away. Ball bounding up in the air, and it's intercepted by number 53 and by number 53, Jerome Williams. The ball was thrown. It was deflected by a Rutgers defender. It went up in the air. Eccleston had a hand on it, and then Jerome Williams came down with it. The first turnover of today's game, an Alan Harrison intercepted pass.
I think it might have been an unnecessary roughness penalty after the interception was made. Referee's still conferring. And it's a personal foul against the University of Connecticut, so I believe that's what it was. After Williams dove for the ball and hit the ground, technically he was down then, and I believe a UConn player hit him once he was already lying on the ground.
Well, the only one close was Reggie Eccleston, so that was probably his penalty. UConn getting marked off a 15-yard penalty against him, and Rutgers will have very good field position on the UConn 41-yard line.
Rutgers scored their last time they had the ball. A 46-yard field goal by Sartzel put them within 4, and they have excellent field position once again. First and 10 from the UConn 41.
Ed McMichael taking over at quarterback. Power I formation. 2 wide receivers split to the right. Pitch out to David Dorn. He goes up for about a gain of 3 or 4 before he's game tackled by UConn.
Kalinowski and O'Leary in on the play there, along with Matt Donovan, the linebacker.
Checking into the game, number 5, Jamie Tompkins. And coming out, number 82, Alan Burkhart. Dwayne Cherry and Tim Odell lining up to the right. Back to pass, Ed McMichael looking for either one of the two. He's going deep. He's looking for number 88, Odell. Intercepted by Teddy Walton. He's still running with the ball, and he finally is tackled by number 31, Dwayne Cherry, at the 8-yard line. UConn having an interception there. Teddy Walton is 4th of the year, and that's a great defensive performance by Teddy Walton.
Nice play by Walton there. Walton was back there, single coverage, one-on-one with the receiver, as Pete Lamagna came in on a safety blitz. Walton had the man covered very, very well, leaped up in the air and grabbed it, and a big turnover for the Huskies.
So UConn will take over on their 8-yard line, first and 10, 4 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the third period. They're deep in their own territory. Alan Harrison takes the snap, hands it off up the middle to Tony Jordan. Not much running room, and UConn gets stopped with about a gain of 1 or 2 yards. UConn having not much success running in this half, as they've tried running around in sweeps, and they've tried running up the middle, and Rutgers seems to be containing them, not like they did in the first half when UConn ran all over the Rutgers defense. The crowd starting to get pumped up here. Alan Harrison calling signals, taking the snap, hands it off to number 33, Tony Jordan, who goes to the right side, but he's again stopped for almost no gain at all. And Rutgers is really bearing down here in the second half.
They look very, very tough against the run, Harold. They're really tightening up those holes up the middle. Huskies' only successes really have been on sweeps. There was one nice run up the middle by Tony Jordan and a couple of intermediate runs by Joe Addison, but for the most part, the Huskies' success has come on the sweeps.
Hey, checking into the game for Brennan. UConn, Reggie Eccleston, split to the right. Back to pass, Alan Harrison. He's looking for somebody. Heavily pass rushed by Rutgers. He's up in the air and it's overthrown. Pass intended for Reggie Eccleston. Good coverage on the play by a few Rutgers defenders. And it's going to be 4th down, 7 to go. And Russ Youngberger is going to be kicking into the wind.
Very good coverage on that play by the Rutgers secondary. And once again, the Huskies are forced to punt from their own end zone.
UConn's last win came in 1974 when they defeated the Rutgers team 9-7. They're looking to repeat that performance here today. Here's the snap. Bumbarger with the kick. It's up. Looking for it is number 21, and he's going to call fair catch. Ken Smith downs the ball at the 42-yard line of the Huskies, and another good field position for the Scarlet Knights.
Smith really hasn't had a chance to show us his form that has him leading the country in punt returns. For the most part, Rutgers has been calling fair catches on most of the punts.
Smith has an average of 18.9 yards per punt return, and if he did it there, it would have been very good field position, but Huskies haven't been given that much of a chance. But Michael gives a snap off to number 43, Ted Blackwell, and he has a gain of about 3 or 4 yards. It's 2nd and 7.
Donovan and O'Leary made the tackles on that play. Husky defense playing very, very well once again.
So it's 2nd down and 7 from the 39-yard line of the UConn Huskies. McMichael calling out the signals. Takes the snap, pitches out to number 14, David Dorn, coming on the left side. He has a hole, and he goes up for about a gain of 6, close to the 1st down. We'll see where they mark the ball. The officials calling a timeout, possibly for measurement. No, they're going to call it 3rd and 1 as they mark the ball on the 32-yard line. Checking into the game, Sioux Huskies, number 35, Bracken. And I didn't catch the other number. Did you catch it, Michael?
No, I didn't, Harold. Sorry.
Oh, well. McMichael taking the snap. Hands it off to Dorn on the left side, looking for a 1st down. He has it, and he's tackled by number 28, Ted Walton. But it's a 1st down for Rutgers as they're driving deep into UConn Husky territory.
Good open field tackle by Ted Walton. If Dorn had gotten by Walton, he might have been able to go all the way for the touchdown. So it's 1st and 10 Rutgers inside the UConn 30.
2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. UConn up 14-10 over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. McMichael hands it off to Ted Blackwell. Tries to go up the left side, but is stopped with a gain of about 1 or 2 yards. Blackwell, the leading rusher for the Rutgers team, 403 yards on 75 carries this year so far. 3 touchdowns and an average of 5.3 yards per carry. Dorn is right behind him with an average of 3.8 yards per carry. He has 208 yards on the season. Pro set. McMichael takes it, hands it off to Dorn. He juggles the ball, finally gets a hold of it, and he's tackled by number 47.
Matt Donovan really stung him.
Very good play by Matt Donovan, a gain of almost nothing. It's going to be 3rd down and 5 from the Husky 25-yard line.
Blackwell back into the game now. He was out on the last play, taking a breather on the bench.
Breaking from the huddle is the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Huskies on a 5-2 defense. McMichael fading back to pass, going to the right, dumps it off to Ted Blackwell, gets a gain and a 1st down, right about down to the 13-yard line where he's tackled by Pierre Lamagna, Jody Webb, and Ted Walton.
Very nice play by Ed McMichael. It was a difficult play. He's a right-handed quarterback. He rolled out to his left, but while still on the run, he made a perfect pass to Blackwell. just beautifully thrown over the defender's head, right into Blackwell's hands. 1st and 10, Rutgers.
We'll see what the Husky defense is made of here. They're right on the 14-yard line. Blackwell takes a snap, hands it off to Blackwell going up the middle. McMichael handing off to Blackwell, a gain of about 3 or 4 yards on the play. And the Husky defense is going to have to shut out the Rutgers team right here, unless they want to be losing after this set of downs. 3 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 2-1. And that's the end of the third quarter from Memorial Stadium. We'll be switching sides here. The score at University of Connecticut 14, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights 10. We'll be back right after this. Calling out the signals, takes the snap, pitches over to Dave Dorn on the left side. He's got a little bit of a room, and he's in the end zone with a touchdown. So the Rutgers Scarlet Knights have taken the lead by 16-14. Coming in will be Startzel to see if he can make the extra point and give the Rutgers team a 3-point lead. But a bad break there for the UConn Huskies is now they're in a deficit, they're in a hole, and they're going to have to come back here in the fourth period. That play was made in 5 seconds into the fourth period. Dave Dorn, a 9-yard run. Ball is placed down. Here's the kick. It's good. And Rutgers has taken the lead 17-14. So we'll be back with the remainder of the game. 14:55 left in the fourth period. It's Rutgers 17, UConn 14. We'll be back right after this. We're back here at Memorial Stadium. We did not go back to the booth, the studio, as we intended to. Dorn scoring his second touchdown on a 9-yard run. 5 seconds into the fourth period. The point after is good, and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights lead 14-7. Dorn last year scored the only touchdown against the Huskies on a punt return, if I remember correctly, as Rutgers won 10-0 last year. This year they're up 17-14. UConn giving them a fight, but the fans aren't going to be satisfied with anything but a win here today.
That was Dorn's 8th touchdown so far this season.
Dorn has been incredible. He's caught 3 in the air for touchdowns, and he has rushed for 5. So Startzel getting set to kick it off to UConn. Back deep for them is number 30, Joe Addison, and number 28, Teddy Walton. Here's the kick, and play is resumed. It's going to go this time to number 28, Teddy Walton, who gets it in about the 5-yard line. He's going up the left side, trying to cut to the middle. There's not much room, and he gets out to about the 20, 21-yard line. Well, it'll be 1st and 10 for the UConn Huskies. Tackle was made by number 82, Funderburk, tight end, who's playing on the specialty teams here this afternoon.
Most updated score we have from the World Series in the 5th inning, Pittsburgh leading 4-3. For that score and other scores, stay tuned to the Athletic Supporter after the game.
Harrison hands off to Jordan on the left side, gain of about 1 at the most, as the Rutgers defense, again, as we mentioned earlier, has shut down the UConn Huskies here in the third period. In the first half, UConn ran for 89 yards, but right here, I don't think they've gotten 15, as Rutgers have stopped them from going on the outside with sweeps and on the inside with power plays. And they have played very well. The coach must have had something to say to them at halftime. UConn lined up on a power I to the left. Eccleston out to the right. Back to pass is Harrison. He's looking for tight end Kenny Miller. He can't see him. He's having a difficult time. Pass. He puts it off to Addison. Addison makes the reception and goes out of bounds about the 28-yard line. Harrison was back to pass, had heavy pass rush. He was looking for Kenny Miller, the tight end on the left side. Couldn't find him. Instead found Joe Addison, who got a gain of about 5 yards, 3rd and 5 from the Husky 27-yard line.
Very fine play by Allen Addison to avoid getting sacked behind the line of scrimmage, and good play by Joe Addison to get loose for him and have him dump it off.
So the Huskies trying to get a sustained drive here. They're setting the power I towards the right. Reggie Eccleston split to the left. Harrison back to pass, looking for a screen. It gets knocked down by number 99 for the Scarlet Knights. Garlick the offensive guard. At least that's what it's listed here right now. And so instead of a first down, it'll be 4th down and 5. And UConn will be punting with no wind at all. There is no wind out there on the flagpoles. So Elmberger will have just his foot to contend with. Here's the snap. Here's the kick. Back for it is number 21, Smith, the best punt returner in the nation. He's getting some room, and he gets about a 15-yard return as he comes all the way down to the 45-yard line of the UConn Huskies. And again, Rutgers have very good field position in UConn territory.
Tackle was made on the play by number 5, Jamie Tompkins, who does a fine job on special teams for the Huskies. It's unfortunate for Smith. He tripped up over his own feet for the most part, and he might have really broken that for a touchdown had he not stumbled there.
First down and 10 from the Rutgers, from the UConn 45-yard line. McMichael hands it off to Blackwell up the middle. He's got some room, and he's going to get a 10-yard or 9-yard gain. Close to the first down. It depends on where the officials will mark the ball. Blackwell went right up the middle, saw some running room. Nice blocks by Pete Honeyford and Frank Naylor, the left guard and center for the Rutgers team. They're marking it very close to the first down. There's going to be an official's measurement. And we're going to see exactly where it is. It is right now. Right, the ball is right on the line. Rutgers first down and 10 from the 35-yard line of the UConn Huskies. 13:33 left to play in the game. The Huskies, who have played a superb first half, are not playing a very good second half, and are fell behind by the score of 17-14.
We have an updated World Series score here. In the 6th inning, the Pirates 6, the Orioles 3.
Dave Dorn takes a pitch out and has it just thrown for a loss of about 3 yards on the tackle. It's number 36 for the Huskies, Brooks, the middle guard. So it's now 2nd and 12.
Mike Muha, who was injured earlier in the game, is being taken off the field in a stretcher and probably being brought back to the infirmary for observation. Let's hope that his injury is not serious.
Huskies in a 5-2 defense. McMichael back to pass, looking for Odell on the right side, but dumps it off to Blackwell instead. It's going to be a gain of about 3 or 4 yards. And a 2nd and 12 turns to be a 3rd and 8.
Matt Donovan and Pete Lamagna made the tackles in that play.
The clock is running here. Time 12 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in the game. Rutgers have a big 3rd down coming up right here. If they could convert this and score a touchdown or even a field goal, not a field goal, only a touchdown will help them right now to make the Huskies have to score twice. Lining up to the left is Odell. McMichael back to pass, looking for Odell. And he's almost has him. He does have him. A very nice pass. It fell short. Odell went to catch it, and the first down will not even be a first down. Peter Lamagna on the play. They fall short of the first down by approximately 2 to 3 yards.
McMichael showing a very fine rifle arm during the course of today. He's really impressed me with his poise and his accuracy on his passes.
We'll see what Rutgers does right here. They have an excellent place kicker, Startzel, who already kicked a 47-yard field goal today and 2 extra points. They're lined up at the 33-yard line. It would have to be around a 50-yard field goal attempt. The longest Startzel has ever obtained has been a 48-yard kick, and there is really no wind at all. And if there is a wind, it's blowing against him just a little bit. So it looks like there's been a timeout on the field. Rutgers has called time to talk to the coach. McMichael is going to stay in the game. They're not bringing on Startzel. And Rutgers is going to go for it with a 4th and 2 from the Husky 27-yard line.
Huskies have to be alert for almost anything here. Rutgers only has to pick up 2 yards for the first down.
They're out of the snap. The crowd coming alive to They're chanting defense, defense, trying to hold back the Rutgers team. McMichael fades back the pass. He's going to go with a screen play to number 14, Dorn, tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and the UConn Huskies have contained the Rutgers offense, and they will take over the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line with 11 minutes and 42 seconds remaining to play.
Even though that play didn't work, I like the call by McMichael. The intentions were good, however. The Husky defense did a superb job of covering the play. They read the screen pass, and they have held. And that's a very big turnaround there for the Huskies. Let's see if they can capitalize.
Harrison, the quarterback for the Huskies. UConn in an I formation. Harrison takes the snap, hands it off to Tony Jordan up the middle, has a little bit of room, gain of about 3 yards. That looks, I think, Michael, that's the longest the Huskies have run all half, 3 yards. They have not gotten much more than that.
The Husky offense has been very ineffective. They've been outscored by Rutgers 10-0 here in the second half. They went into the half leading 14-7. Jerome Ingram's into the game now, so Coach Walt Nadzak has elected to go with 2 wide receivers now and 2 running backs.
Ingram lined up to the right, lined up to the left is Epperson. Back to pass is Harrison. Heavy rush by the Rutgers team. It's going to be a quarterback sack. 3 Rutgers defenders were back there, a loss of about 8 yards.
There was nothing Allison could do about that. The rush was just so heavy, there was no way he could elude 3 tacklers, and finally he was brought down.
3rd down, 12 to go, the clock running with 10:45 remaining here in the game. If you've just joined us, it's Rutgers 17, UConn 13. UConn not playing very well in the second half here at Memorial Stadium.
Sean May back into the game with a play, and Pat Brennan comes out. It'll be a big 3rd and 12 situation for the Huskies.
Harrison will have to be passing. Lined up to the left is Eccleston. Lined up to the right is Jerome Ingram. Back to pass is Harrison, and he's looking for both. And he's going to dish one out to Addison on a screen play. He runs out of bounds at the 20, and it's a loss. Another loss of about 7 yards, and the Huskies are going the wrong way. It's going to be 3rd down and 19 to go. And the 4th down and 19 to go, and the Huskies will be punting.
Addison must have been a secondary receiver on the play, maybe a tertiary receiver. The wide receivers were covered there. Addison just tried to dump it off to the running back, and it didn't work.
UConn can't seem to get any offense mustered up at all. Humberger with the kick. Looking for it, calling for it is Dave Dorn. A fair catch at their own 45-yard line, where Rutgers will take over with 10 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the game.
Another key situation here for the Husky defense. They could not afford to let Rutgers score, and neither can they afford to let Rutgers waste time off the clock. 10:04 remaining in the game. Rutgers leading 17-14. To a 1st and 10 situation from their own 46-yard line.
Rutgers in an I formation. 2 wide receivers out. Handoff to Blackwell up the middle. Stopped by number 22, Peter Lamagna, at about the 48-yard line. 2nd down and 8. And it looks like the Rutgers will probably be content to run as much as possible, waste some time on the clock, and hopefully get a couple of 1st downs and maybe score, taking UConn out of this game completely.
Some of the crowd starting to shuffle out, not because of the score of the game, but because it's getting very, very cold here at Memorial Stadium.
Ed McMichael takes a snap, looking for number 31, Dwayne Cherry. Instead, he dumps it off to 14, Dave Dorn, who came out of the backfield, and he gets quite a gain to about the 33-yard line, where he is stopped by number 29, Jody Webb, and 28, Teddy Walton. Very good play by the Rutgers offense.
Very fine play by Dorn. He was wide open on the pass, and then he broke a couple of tackles after making the reception and was finally brought down at the UConn 33.
The clock is running. Time expiring for the Huskies. McMichael takes him out of the huddle once again. Lined up to the right, Dwayne Cherry. Lined up to the left, Tim Odell. Handoff to Tim Blackwell on the right side. Stopped again by number 22, Peter Lamagna. Very nice play, and it'll be 2nd and about 9 yards to go for a 1st down.
Good play by Pete Lamagna. He also had help on the play by Ken Stockwell, linebacker.
Rutgers coming out of their huddle. Huskies lining up on a 5-2 defense. I I formation for the Rutgers team. McMichael back to pass, looking to the right side, but gets sacked by number 82, Alan Burkhardt, who came off from the right side. McMichael did not even see him. A very fine play by Alan Burkhardt.
McMichael must be hurting right about now. That was a blindside tackle by Alan Burkhardt. As you said, Harold, he never saw Alan Burkhardt as he came in, and a big sack for the Huskies, probably taking Rutgers out of field goal range here, and it's 3rd and 18.
8 minutes remaining in the game, time running out. As I've been saying constantly for the UConn Huskies, most of the crowd remaining set. Rutgers in the I formation. McMichael fades back to pass, looking deep on the right side for number 80. Knocked down. A beautiful play by 28, Teddy Walton. That pass was intended, for number 31, Dwayne Cherry, but Teddy Walton comes up with the big play one more time.
A beautiful play. Dwayne Cherry had Walton beaten by about a yard. Walton leaped up in the air as high as he could go and batted the ball down with one hand on a big play. That would have been a touchdown for Rutgers, no doubt about it. Cherry was there.
Punting will be Darren Cherry, the brother of Dwayne Cherry. Back to receive it will be 24, Joe Marcus, and number 8, Reggie Eccleston. Here's the snap. The punt is up. Oh, he was hit on the play. There's going to be a flag on the play. A punt was shanked out of bounds. Peter Lamagna got in there trying to block the play, and Dwayne Cherry got hit. And a big break for the Rutgers offense, as it's going to be a roughing the kicker penalty, and that could take UConn out of this game right here and now.
That's a very big play, Harold. There's only 7:37 remaining in the game, and you have to figure Rutgers could hold onto the ball now for at least another 2 or 3 minutes. And if they score, that play will be looked back as a very key play. And let's look back at also at that roughing call earlier in the game, which looked like it was going to maybe lead to a Rutgers touchdown, and Rutgers eventually scored a field goal on that play. And that's the margin Rutgers leads by right now, 17-14.
UConn always playing very well against most teams. It's just the penalties and the mistakes that happen to make them lose the games. McMichael takes the snap, hands it off to Tim Blackwell, the ace rusher for the Rutgers team. He gains about 4 or 5 yards down to the UConn 20-yard line.
Another thing that penalty did, Harold, I'm sorry to interrupt, is that UConn has put Rutgers back in the field goal range. Starts with a very fine kicker, kicked a 47-yarder earlier in the game, and a field goal looks very big.
A field goal would only be big if UConn missed the extra point. It's 17-14 right now. McMichael takes a snap, hands off, straight up the middle to Timmy Blackwell. Blackwell gains 1 or 2 falling forward. Nothing more than that. So it'll be 3rd down and approximately 2 to go.
What the field goal does do, though, is make UConn score a touchdown to win the game. If Rutgers were not to score here, UConn could kick a field goal for a tie. Of course, UConn has to score a touchdown to win. Plus hold Rutgers here.
I'm sure UConn's not going to go for the tie here. They did it last week, and the fans were pretty upset with just a tie. A pitch out to Dorn on the left side. UConn looking to stop a first down on 3rd and 2, but it looks like Rutgers are very close to a first down. They're going to mark it a first down, and with 6 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the game, Rutgers have a 1st and 10 from the UConn 15-yard line.
Dave Dorn, the man of the hour there for Rutgers, picking up a big 3rd and 2 situation and getting the necessary 2 yards for the first down, keeping this drive alive at the UConn 15.
McMichael out of the huddle. Calling signals. Rutgers in an I formation. 2 receivers out. Hands it up the middle to Timmy Blackwell. There's a fumble on the play. Ball bounding around, and it looks like Rutgers has jumped on it. But a gain of about 5 has turned into a gain of about 1 on the fumble. And they're going to call it Rutgers ball at the 14-yard line, so it is only a gain of 1. 2nd down and 9. The clock is running. 5 minutes, 36 seconds remaining in the game, and the Huskies are going to at least want one more chance on the offense, and hopefully the UConn defense will stop them right now cold. 17-14. Rutgers up by 3. 5 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game. McMichael takes a snap, looking for number 14, Dave Dorn. He has him. He was upended. The ball was bounded loose and went out of bounds, but since Dorn had last possession of it, Rutgers keeps with the ball, and there's 2 fumbles right in a row. But Rutgers has a 3rd and 5 from their 10-yard line.
That was a vicious tackle by Teddy Walton as he stuck his helmet into the legs of David Dorn, and Dorn is limping off the field. Appeared to be hit in the shin or knee area. And a very, very hard tackle by Walton. The fumble resulted in about an extra yard picked up by Rutgers as the ball went out of bounds at the 10.
That could be very painful. The clock stopped with 5:11. McMichael takes the snap. Looking to hand it off, and he does so to number 88 on the right side. And on the end around, there's a couple of flags on the play. Getting that ball, Tim Odell, and he goes out of bounds at about the 9-yard line.
The flag is going to be a clip on number 56, Joe Curry. Joe Kalinowski had read the end around. He was standing right there waiting to tackle the runner, and Curry clipped him, so that'll move them back a bit. 15 yards to be exact. And that's going to put Rutgers back to about the 35, 36-yard line, it looks.
Almost taking them out of field goal range with the wind blowing against the kicker. A big play for the UConn Huskies. It's about time they had a break here in the second half. It's going to be 3rd down and 31. McMichael should be taking to the air here. The clock is running. 5 minutes remaining in the game. And a lot of action here on the fans of the UConn.
Don't go away. This game is far from over here as the UConn defense is holding tough.
Lining up to the left, Tim Odell. Lining up to the right, Dwayne Sherry. Here's the snap. Fading back to pass McMichael. He's going deep to Odell, and he's going to overthrow him by about 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 4th down and 31. And it looks like Rutgers will be punting, and if they do, UConn is going to be deep in their own territory. And they're going to have to drive approximately 90 to 95 yards if Odell corner kicks it right here at this time.
It'll be interesting to see if the Huskies try and block the punt here. Last time they tried to block it, Pete Lamagna was called for roughing the kicker, and that resulted in an automatic 1st down for Rutgers.
Luckily that Rutgers couldn't capitalize on that play, and they're punting away one more time, and UConn will have one more shot at scoring the tying or winning points. The punt is up in the air. Reggie Eccleston calls for a fair catch. It goes over everyone's head into the end zone, and UConn gets a break. They'll be at their own 20-yard line for a touchback. 4 minutes, 32 seconds remaining in the game. UConn defense getting a standing ovation from the Husky crowd. They're trying to start up something with their offense, trying to get the team raring to go. 17-14, Rutgers leads. They scored 10 points here in the second half on a field goal by Startzel, a 47-yard field goal, and a 9-yard run by Dorn, his second touchdown of the day. Harrison taking the ball, going back to pass, looking deep, and he looks for Eccleston, but it's intercepted by number 53 of the Scarlet Knights, Jerome Williams, his second interception, and the Huskies turn the ball right over as quick as they get it.
To be perfectly honest, Hal, that was not a well-thrown ball. It was thrown right in the hands of William, and that could very well be it for the Huskies, as they may have to wait until next week to seek their first victory of the season.
I don't think Harrison saw Williams at all. He's right behind Williams was Eccleston. Williams just stepped right in front of it and said, hey, here I am, give me the ball. And there's 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in this game. I'm sure Rutgers is just going to run the ball on the ground. They're on the Husky 16-yard line. They do so. The first play is run right up the middle, a gain of about 4. Blackwell had the carry. If Rutgers runs 3 or 4 times and runs the clock down to 3 minutes, they're at least going to have a shot at the field goal and possibly a shot at a touchdown.
You have to give the UConn defense a lot of credit. Even though they've allowed 10 points here in the second half, they've been on the field for an awfully long time here in the second half, and it's another tough test here.
McMichael takes a snap. There's penalty flags all over the place. The handoff was to Blackwell for a gain of about 1 or 2. And we'll wait and see what the officials call. The clock is stopped at 3 minutes and 49 seconds left. Offensive holding against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Another break for the Huskies. A lot of penalties this game. Last week, I remember, versus New Hampshire, there was almost none. This game, Rutgers has been penalized 8 times for 96 yards, as our statistician here has given it to us. So a lot more penalties this week than last week, as I think there's only 1 or 2 flags thrown for like 5 yards. A very well-played game in that sense. Of course, they couldn't get the ball into the end zone. Second down, 19, 3 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the game.
Rutgers could easily have about 24, 27 points in this game, but key penalties have really hurt them.
McMichael calling out signals one more time in the pro set as the Rutgers team. He's got the pass. They want a touchdown here. He dishes it off to number 80, George Carter, the tight end, who has running room, and he's still going. Finally gets tackled by number 47 of the Huskies, Donovan. Matt Donovan out of Wayne, New Jersey. Tackles him right at about the original line of scrimmage before the penalty, the 16-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 yards to go for a first down for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Tremendous individual effort by George Carter there as he broke about 4 or 5 tackles. He has very good size for a tight end, at least height-wise. He goes 6'5", weighs 210 pounds. He puts on a little bit more weight. He looks like he has a chance as a pro prospect.
Dwayne Cherry and Tim Odell split to the left. Handoff right up the middle of the number 25, Lester Johnson, is one of his first carries of the game, and he gets a first down all the way down to the Husky 4-yard line, where it's going to be 1st and goal right there with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. The crowd now dispersing. They have given up quickly on the UConn Huskies here at about an 8,000 attendance for Band Day. Clock is running.
It looks rather bleak now, Harold, as the clock is working against the Huskies, and it's 1st and goal from the 4.
There's 3 timeouts remaining for both teams. McMichael hands it straight up the middle to Lester Johnson for the 2nd time in a row. A gain of approximately 1 yard, where it will be 2nd and 3 from the Husky 3. 2 minutes, 28 seconds remaining in the contest. Another bit of technical difficulties there. We're sorry about that. McMichael calling signals, hands it off to, flips it back to Lester Johnson, where he's met by 2 or 3 Huskies. A great team effort led by number 35 for the Huskies,
Mark Bracken, freshman. He really hit him. The whole 5 of them really hit him. It's hard to distinguish really who made that tackle. Husky defense playing very well here. Look for almost anything here at 3rd and 4. They've been successful with the short passes to our backs.
That could be just what they might go with right here. The clock working against the Huskies. 1:43 left. More fans getting up and leaving. McMichael calling signals. Odell lined up to the right. McMichael back to pass, looking for Odell in the end zone. It's off his hands and no good. The pass is no good. Odell had his left hand on it, but it was thrown behind Odell, and it's going to bring up a 4th down and 4 situation from the Husky 4-yard line. The score, Rutgers 17, UConn 14. We'll see exactly what Rutgers chooses to do. Rutgers, meanwhile, is going to call a timeout, and we're going to go to a timeout at the station with 1 minute and 34 seconds remaining in the contest. The score, Rutgers 17, UConn 14. We'll be back right after this. 4th down, 4 to go. Timeout here at Memorial Stadium at the University of Connecticut in Storrs, where the score is Rutgers 17, UConn 14. We'd like to remind you of some upcoming events at WHUS. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, the UConn women's field hockey team, which is ranked 4th nationally, faces Penn State, who is currently ranked 3rd in the nation. BJ Fennell and Jay Haller will be bringing you all the action. And again, tomorrow at 12:55, UConn soccer versus Air Force. Andy Young and Bill Healey will be there to lead you through. Our next football broadcast will be next week at 1:25 versus Maine. At 1 o'clock, the pregame show to WHUS Sports page will be aired. Upcoming events this afternoon at 5 o'clock, Michael Judkins with the unnamed special. This week it's Janice Joplin. We're back to live action here. Ed McMichael going for it on 4th and 4. He takes a snap looking for Odell as he's going to the right. He goes with a pass. It's a touchdown. Not to Odell, though, but instead to number 89, Perfman, a tight end. Perfman, a 2nd-string tight end out of Montoursville, Pennsylvania. And I think that's about it for the UConn Huskies, as Rutgers has brought the lead up to 23-14.
Stay tuned to the Athletic Supporter immediately following the wrap-up show. Engineer Bruce Rosard will be there along with Andy Young, and the numbers to call for that are 429-WHUS and 486-4007. The kick is up, and it is perfect. So, with 1:28 remaining in the 4th quarter, the score, Rutgers 24, Connecticut 14. We're going to keep it right here, as there's only 1:28 remaining in the game. UConn trails by 10, and it looks like it's loss number 4 in the season for the Huskies, as their record will drop to 0-4-1. Rutgers will up its record to 4-2.